Welcome back to Skin Sites at VMV Hypoallergenics, and thanks for joining me. And I'm going to do my best to kind of answer your questions and reconnect with everyone. It's been a while. Okay, so as to kind of get us started then, thank you all very, very much for joining us today. Happy Women's History Month. Yes? Very, very cool. Happy Women's History Month. I just did a panel on women and the idea of beauty and what that means sort of these days yesterday for Manila House. So I'm very, very much in the women's history kind of vibe. But so yeah, thank you very much for joining. It's been a while since we've done one of these live streams, so I'm kind of just excited. Oh, no live feed on FB yet. Okay, I'm seeing some comments on Facebook. Can maybe someone from VMV share the link perhaps to Facebook? It's on facebook.com/VMV Hypoallergenics. I believe that's the one that we're using today. But let me know if that's still an issue and we'll see if we can't fix that. Otherwise, thanks to folks on Insta. It's good to see y'all. It's been a while. So yeah, okay, I'll get started just to, actually, let me get one last confirmation. FBS, folks are there. Yeah, I'm seeing folks in Facebook come in. Okay. Okay, I think we can start soon, yeah? Okay, I'm double checking with the team to make sure that everyone can see me, hear me clearly, and then we can get started. So welcome all the new people who are just sort of coming in. It's been a while since we've done. Sorry, I'm a little tired. It's been a week. Done a Skin Sites from VMV. So I'm really excited to kind of touch base with everyone again and answer questions as best that I can. And yeah, okay. All right, folks. So getting started again, happy Women's History Month. It's been, VMV is women founded. It's my mother who is the founding dermatologist and dermatopathologist. My sister is now a dermatologist as well, or getting there. And so it's kind of cool. We're still majority women at VMV. Leadership is like, I don't know, almost 100% women. And in STEM and clinical research and R&D, we're really heavily women, which is pretty awesome. So welcome, welcome. Happy Women's History Month. Thank you for joining us again. Very quickly, because it's been a minute since we've done this, so I kind of have to remind myself to remind you all about stuff that we're giving away today. We're doing a pretty cute travel-sized doohickey here with a travel-sized Moisture Rich, creamy, rich, intensive moisture milk, which is one of our absolute best-selling intensive moisturizers. If you have any kind of barrier defect, if you have really dry skin, and the nice thing is it's not comedogenic, right? Nothing that we make is comedogenic or acnegenic. So we're going to be giving away one of these puppies and one of these puppies. So an Armada Sport 70 Travel, which is really cool. And I know like people, oh, look, my cat is in the background. Hi, Azzy. Hi. Okay, she's gonna join. Hi. Okay. Okay. Anyways, I know a lot of people might be traveling for like Holy Week or whatever if you celebrate, so it'd be pretty cool. And how you get this is you post your questions or make a comment, and I think you have to share. And then at the end of the live, we'll choose a winner randomly from folks who comment and who shared. So on Facebook, I think it's when you share, you'll have a sharer tag next to your name, and that's how we'll know that you shared. So yay. And then, yeah, I think we're also doing something for US viewers in the Superwash and Essence. This is actually mine, so it's a little beat up. It came from my bathroom, and the Stay Freshener range. So anyway, so make sure that you do ask your questions, comment, and share, and then hopefully, yeah, at the end, you get to win one of these cool things. So jumping straight into it, we're here basically because, hi, someone says, hi, Mom Laura, hi. So we're here because, yes, it's Women's History Month, but also we turn 45. I do not. I have turned 52, which I love. But we as a company turned 45. We were started in 1979 by my mom. Oh, I'm so happy you're one of your fave brands. Thank you. So, yeah, we're here because of that. And we figured, we did a lot of these skin sites over the pandemic. And then kind of life happened, and we've just been so busy trying to get stocks back of anything that we could. And so we just didn't do a lot of them. But we wanted to check in with our skin enthusiasts and see how everyone's going. And then maybe go over some of the stuff that's new in skin that you guys might be hearing and curious about, and some of the milestones of VMV, what has gotten us here, why we've survived the 45 years. But so, some stuff that is coming this year that I can talk about. We're going to have our 45th year raffle. The last time we had one was when we turned 40, and it was a pretty big deal. Like when we do these milestone anniversary raffles, they are pretty exciting. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll be doing more stuff, like more stuff with our VM VIP program to give more perks and everything. So as usual, please make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. And don't forget, please, to sign up for our emails. We get a lot of people asking us about stocks coming back and things like that. And email is really kind of where most of the details come out first. In the Philippines as well, the website of our clinic is back up. And we're also on SiriusMD, and you can find us on Viber. And we just did a bit of a revamp of vmvinskin.com. So we're repopulating it with a lot of information that's really helpful on skin health and whatnot. Hi, Amy. Happy Women's Month. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna kind of get into today. Okay, so getting into the meat of the live stream today. Oh, you had to send a request to be in our live? Oh, Jay, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have to do that. That should just be public. I'll see if someone on VMV team can maybe help you get in there. Okay, so jumping in, first is really checking in with y'all. I hope everyone is doing well. I know, it was interesting. I attended a psychological first aid, sort of psychological safety talk the other day, and something that the psychiatrists were saying is so many of us think that the pandemic is over and therefore we should be fine. And the truth of the matter is many of us are not yet, right? Or we're still struggling. We have our days when we're doing really well, and then other days when we're not. So kind of just checking in, making sure everyone is feeling, good and centered. And definitely let me know if there's anything I can try to answer for you, skin-wise or stress-wise, because they're both really, really, really interlinked. Second, I'm here to kind of talk about some stuff that is still unique to VMV, that has stayed unique with VMV, and actually some of the newer stuff that's happening kind of in skin in general. Maybe some of the trends you've been hearing about, some of the industry changes, and kind of how we stand vis-a-vis all that stuff. So one of our more interesting things, I think, is that a lot of the new stuff that's happening in skincare and skin is actually really old for us, right? In part because we've been around for so long, but in part also because we really started out with this commitment to be the safest, most proven, effective care on the planet. And that's kind of been our guiding thing forever. And it's been a pain in the butt. I won't lie to you. It's been very difficult to keep doing that. But that was our commitment. So one of the first things that's happening, I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but there have been more brands really kind of, yes, exactly, hypoallergenic. There have been more brands really touting fragrance-free. And in fact, one of the bigger items of news is in the United States, the US FDA has had its most comprehensive changes in about 80 years. And one of the bigger things is it's now requiring more brands. No, I'm sorry. It is now making it a requirement for all cosmetic brands to declare when they're using fragrances, and particularly allergen fragrances. This is super interesting because this was just never done, and still a lot of FDAs actually don't require it. But VMV since 1979 has really been committed to fragrance free, 100%. And so we've kind of just never used it. And then when ingredients have become allergen fragrances, we've just taken them out of the formulation, but we never really used fragrances anyway to begin with. I remember when Superwash launched, which is this product I was talking about earlier, right? One of the bigger fights within the family was it was a time where the best-selling shampoo in the world was really fragranced, and all shampoos kind of competed with each other based on how they smelled and how they looked. And my mom wanted to launch. My mom is the founding dermatologist and dermatopathologist of VMV, right? And she wanted to start. She wanted to have a shampoo because she was getting so many patients with contact allergies and contact acne, the forehead and cheeks and the upper back and stuff. And she kept saying it has to be fragrance free. And you know, my father and I at the time were like, who the hell's gonna buy it? It's not, it doesn't smell like anything, right? But so we've been fragrance free since day one. And I think what's also key here is we've been masking fragrance free since day one. And masking fragrance is, it doesn't smell good. It just masks the smell of a product. Y'all, this is a true like skincare industry secret that you should know. Nothing really smells pretty in a lab. It smells like a lab. Even like natural extracts, when you're going to use them in formulations and stuff, they don't really smell like a garden. So they kind of smell like a lab. They're extracted and they have to be stable, and you're trying to maintain a lot of the goodnesses you can. They don't really smell like your garden. So masking fragrances are fragrances, but they don't smell like bananas or pineapples or roses. They just mask the smell of the lab. So if you're smelling something that doesn't smell beautiful, but that kind of doesn't smell like a lab, it just smells neutral, there's a pretty good chance that there's a masking fragrance in there. So the interesting thing that's happening with a lot of these brands that are sort of jumping on the fragrance-free bandwagon, which by the way, we support, like, we're all about saving the world's skin. As far as we're concerned, the safer the better, right? So the thing is, there's still some confusion, I think, that's happening as all these kind of brands are being required to, or are jumping on the bandwagon because they just want safer stuff, which is a good thing. One is, like I said, masking fragrances might be there, which might not smell perfumey, but might still be in there. So just because it doesn't smell like a bouquet doesn't mean it doesn't have fragrance. It might have masking fragrance. Two, essential oils, natural fragrances. Natural, I mean really like organic, right? Like you grew it in your garden. They're still allergens. So if you, and wait, important. Just because something is an allergen doesn't mean it's unsafe. It's like some people can't eat peanuts, but peanuts are actually really rather healthy and high fiber and all this stuff. So it's always better to get a patch test and see what you in particular are allergic to. But if you do patch test positive for fragrance, using an organic, natural, essential oil, even if you grew it and extracted it yourself, there's a pretty high risk that you'll still react because it's still a fragrance, no matter how natural and organic it is. The second thing to kind of remember here is that this thing of regulatory bodies, FDA's requiring brands to declare fragrance, allergen fragrances, we're still not sure how that's going to pan out. Like, I know that the FDA is going to be using, I believe it's called the infra. I've already forgotten. My brain is oatmeal these days. But they use references that are not the same as the references that we use. At VMV, we use independent, so we have nothing to do with them. These are independent studies that are published by contact dermatitis specialists around the world. So these are like the top doctors in the world, the societies that really specialize on skin allergies, sensitive skin, that sort of thing. And they patch test on 28,000 people or so to determine the most allergenic skin ingredients. So we use a reference that is more strict, if you will. And so it'll be interesting to see how this pans out going forward, to see how many allergen fragrances might be missed. Maybe not a lot, but that's kind of very much our wheelhouse, and we're very, very confident about our knowledge of contact allergens and fragrance and that sort of thing. The other thing to kind of know is that a lot of stuff that's fragrance isn't called fragrance. It won't be listed as parfum or fragrance. It might actually be called something like benzyl alcohol or balsam of Peru. And these things are perfumes, or they're related to fragrance and flavors. It's another thing not a lot of people know. Flavors are actually related to fragrance. So anyway, this is just sort of one of the things that VMV has been doing for about 45 years, and this is very much where our expertise lies. We are excited that more people are doing it. I even used to joke, like, give us a call, we'll see if we can help you, right? Like to these other brands. But it's nice that these FDAs are kind of realizing just how allergenic fragrances are now. And the other thing that's pretty cool to know, fragrances are skin allergens, but they're also photoallergens, meaning that they can react with light and cause darkening. So our melasma, all those dark spots, those dark acne spots and things like that, can actually be from the fragrance in your skincare and makeup or perfume that you're wearing. So just good stuff to know. The other thing that has sort of become trendy is just how many more brands, I think, are saying safer, 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 which is great, right? And so many, and I think, again, it's healthy to demand that our, FDAs keep up and sort of really are careful about the safety of stuff that's out there. The US FDA had a warning that went out about hydroquinone containing products because it can cause ochronosis, which is these very deep blue-black splotches that are much harder to treat than just melasma. And some products with hydroquinone were testing with fairly alarming levels of, what is it? Why am I blanking? Of mercury, right? Which is really dangerous. It's a toxin. So I think it's wonderful that the FDAs are getting stricter about safety, but I do think that, I'll answer that in a second. I love it. I do think that there's also a little bit of confusion about what safety means. So at VMV, we've never kind of done safety as a matter of trendy. It really was out of need. My mom was seeing so many patients with contact acne and darkening and rashes. And so that's what we did. We just started removing as many contact allergens as possible from formulations. And it seems like, as of right now, still, no one is doing a hypoallergenicity grading system like our VH rating system still. So that still seems unique. And it's, if you think about it, it's actually a disadvantage for the brand to be as transparent as we are, because the VH rating shows how many contact allergens out of how many total are not in a formulation. And if we happen to put one in there, like a vitamin E, which is an excellent antioxidant, and if you're not allergic to it, it's fantastic. But we will actually disclose that. We'll mark it with an asterisk and underline it very clearly in the formulation. So you can decide based on your patch test results if you can use it. If you're not allergic to vitamin E, but you are allergic to parabens or whatever, then you know with one glance that you can totally use the product. The question here was, why is VMV Armada 70, the Armada Sport, why is it the highest SPF we have? And there's actually a bit of a complicated answer, but I'll try to make it quick. Anything above SPF 15, 30 only gives you marginally more protection factor, right? At 50, you're really well protected. 70 actually tests at higher levels of SPF, but many regulatory boards are capping it so that if you test at SPF 50 or above, you're actually required to just say SPF 50 plus. In the Philippines and ASEAN, in many countries, you don't have to do that. You could say SPF 70. And that's what it is for us, and we decided to be more conservative and keep it at that. Here's the kicker. While anything above, let's say 30, will give you marginally more protection, not like big jumps of protection, it really matters how much of the sunscreen you apply. So most people don't know that these tested values are tested on about a shot glass of product applied on the face. It's a lot. I'm sorry, on the body. So it's a lot of sunscreen. Most people don't really apply that much sunscreen. And if you don't apply that amount, that correct amount, there was a study in the British Journal of Dermatology several years ago now that showed that the SPF can actually be cut in half. So if the SPF is higher to begin with, if you apply less than what's actually what you need, you'll still get really, really, really good SPF protection for that. The other main reason that we don't try to push for 115, 150, besides the fact that it's really not necessary, is that these sunscreen active ingredients are very expensive and very photolabile, which means they can react with light and become unstable. And they're just difficult active ingredients to work with for the most part. So, you know, it's remember we have to balance safety and efficacy. If we can give you the most efficacy and keep the product still really, really safe, then that's what we're going to go for. I hope that answered that question. Okay, so something else that's old to us, but that's kind of new, I guess, and sexy in the market is this whole talk about barrier. Oh, no, no. First, let me talk about clinical proof. So there's more pressure on brands to do more robust clinical studies because historically, for cosmetics in particular, you could do, obviously safety tests and things like this, but then the rest of it was kind of just usage tests, and a lot of it wasn't blinded, which means if I'm your favorite brand and I give you two products to try, there's already a subjective influence potentially because one of them is ours, right? So, kind of the gold standard still for a lot of clinical studies is something that's called evidence based, which is randomized and double blind. You really don't know what you're trying, right? Um, and that's what we do, and we've been doing it for ages. So, my mom at this point has something like 200, 300 plus clinical studies published in peer reviewed journals around the world. And that's a very big deal. To get one clinical study accepted is kind of a big deal. So the fact that she has so many is pretty huge. But what's interesting is that so much of that research, a good 70 to 80, is either on VMV products in particular or is research that has gone into VMV. So yeah, a nice example of this is when my mom got really interested in coconut oil. And it's because coconut oil is so well studied. I mean, we didn't start that, right? And a lot of the brands you might think that started the whole coconut oil craze, it's been around forever. Our grandmothers, our great grandmothers knew it was really fantastic. Coconut oil studies, clinical studies, randomized double blind studies have been around since the 1970s easily. And studies on lipids, on fats, oils as good antimicrobials have been around since the 1800s. So that's not new per se. But my mom was one of her studies were some of the first that were specific on skin in particular and virgin coconut oil. So, and they're regularly cited. So her work, she was also, can you tell? I'm so proud of my mom. She did some of the earliest studies also on sun and light screens, protection against indoor light, right? What we now call blue light, visible light, that sort of stuff. So she still has all these studies out there and they're still regularly cited. Some of these were up in like the 1990s. So she's been really at it for a while, and that's been very core to VMV since day one. So yeah, I'm happy again that we're seeing more demand for and more requirements for proof, right, of claims. And it is nice that we were kind of there first. I have a question here. I want to make sure I don't miss it. From Facebook, what is your opinion on ingredients like humectants, especially hyaluronic acid? Hyaluronic acid is interesting because simplify, Laura, simplify. Active ingredients can be really phenomenal and fantastic. Hyaluronic acid in particular is a very good kind of filler plumper kind of thing, but topically, again, this is when I talk about when we don't share enough information and education about certain ingredients, right? So hyaluronic acid, I think, is a fantastic example. So thank you for bringing that up. The molecules of hyaluronic acid are usually too big to penetrate deep enough in the skin to actually do to the skin what it does when it's applied in filler form. Or there's another wonderful machine called Enerjet, which uses air jet propulsion instead of laser to inject So it tightens and helps with scars and stuff like that. But at the same time, it injects things, and it can inject, I think, hyaluronic acid. But so topically applied, just because something is fantastic in filler form or in another form doesn't mean it's going to apply well. And this molecular size thing is also important in things like sunscreens. Molecular size matters, and it's a balance, right? Like you want it to be able to protect enough, to penetrate enough to do stuff. But in hypoallergenicity, a golden rule is the smaller the molecule, the higher the risk of an allergic reaction because there's too much penetration. And then you have other potential risks like nanoparticles in those super sexy sunscreens that feel like nothing that everyone loves. The concern is a little bit on nanoparticles or in the oceans because they're so tiny and we kind of don't know how much of that is really penetrating our bodies, etc., getting into the environment and what they can do. So I guess my short answer there is we love ingredients and we love new ones that come, or we love old ones that are getting good clinical studies, but we have to look at many things. Um, Efficacy, penetration in the skin, hypoallergenicity, all that stuff. And of course, environmental impact, right? Oh, I missed a question on Instagram. Here we go. Eczema, currently looking for the best products, managing eczema. Okay, for anyone with eczema, atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea, anything that's kind of more sensitive and complicated, the number one tip we always say, see if you can get a patch test from your doctor. This is different from a prick test, scratch test, or RAS test for allergies. Those are usually for food, dander, pollen, pets, right? That sort of thing. And that's either, they prick you here, or they scratch, or it's a blood test. These things are very valid and important for IgE mediated allergies. I hope you learned something new today, which is a whole different system. These are the things that happen immediately. You might get hives, you might get, inability to breathe, pretty serious stuff. Skin allergies are actually T cell mediated for the most part. Some overlap, like with dust mites. And a patch test is, as it sounds, it's applied on your back in patches. And that shows you what your skin in particular is allergic to. So if, for example, you prick test positive for mango, you might actually, so you can't eat it. You might actually be able to still apply it on your skin, right? I mean, it's something you'd have to talk about with your allergist and your dermatologist. But as a general rule, if you have sensitive skin, a patch test can be miraculous because one of the biggest problems we see, folks, if you walk away with nothing else from this talk, this is it. One of the biggest problems we see at VMV is customer service desperation in emails that start with, I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands trying and breaking out and having so many problems. Trial and error with very sensitive skin, particularly if it's a condition like eczema, is just not the way to go. You're going to be harming your barrier further and further and thinning the skin and actually making your skin more prone to react. And all of this is just going to cost you so much money. Trial, drop, trial, drop. And it's so hard to know what the ingredient is that's actually causing the problem. In a product that has 50 ingredients, 10 ingredients, how do you know which one it is? So a patch test is sort of the golden rule. And the second thing I want to say is, please get a proper diagnosis. Eczema, atopic dermatitis can actually just be an allergic reaction to something. We've seen psoriasis misdiagnosed as other things, even by dermatologists, and it's not because people are lazy or whatever. Skin conditions are very hard to diagnose because they can be very multifactorial and there can be many, many, many things to consider. So if you suspect atopic dermatitis and eczema, it really is better not to self-diagnose if you can. And then, of course, my third recommendation would be to use our stuff. The most allergen-free stuff we have, like Essence Superwash or Clark Wash, everything from head to toe, just to prevent as much as possible the risk of a trigger that then causes a flare that you then have to bring down. And I kid you not, we actually just had a patient who was in the hospital, again, for steroid withdrawal, because topical steroids can be such a quick fix for these complicated skin conditions, but you should not be on topical steroids for, some of these people are on for years and years and years, and they can be life-threatening. years and years and years in, right? Prevention alone can keep you off of steroids and limit reactions to once or twice a year. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Biopsy, biopsy is a fantastic diagnostic tool, my goodness, because that's already dermatopathological. So they're really looking at your skin cells. If that's a diagnosis, I would trust it. Dermatopathology, folks, way underrated. It's so fantastic. That's kind of the creme de la creme. Okay, and then I have another question here about moisturizer for oily skin. Yes, for sure. For sure. Don't choose a moisturizer that has comedogens. So again, right? So comedogens, so if you have something that clogs your pores, right? That is comedogenic. That creates a comedone. This can lead to acne. Acnegenic can be something that is irritating, like an allergen, like fragrance, right? We were talking about it earlier. It doesn't clog the pore the way that a comedogen does, or comedogen, wherever you're based, but it can irritate the inside of the pore, which can lead to inflammation and infection and acne. So there are many moisturizers, including ours, that are not comedogenic, not acnegenic. The reason why moisturizers are important still for oily skin is because the barrier layer of the skin is agnostic to your skin type. The skin's barrier layer is like, imagine bricks and mortar. It is so important for keeping your skin stretchy and looking vibrant and so healthy. This is what keeps you protected from microbial infection and all this. So it's very important actually to lock in that moisture, keep your barrier layer, loved and taken care of, and moisturizer is important for that. And also allergens and irritants dry out the skin. So, moisturizers can help counteract that a little bit. Okay, thank you for the 45 years. My personal favorite VMV product. Oh my God, just one? I'm gonna have to think about that, Kendra. That's hard. That's a hard question. Thanks a lot. My daughter's like, Armada. I don't know. I love Armada. I wear it every day, but I don't know. It would be a toss up between Monoloran gel actually and Boo Boo Balm. I think Boo Boo Balm because I feel like I can use it for everything. Like if I get seborrheic dermatitis, there's a flare up here. My daughter's using it every day. My lip balm when I'm traveling, inside my nose when I get my sinusitis and the inside of my nose is super dry and cracked. And then I can use it as a flyaway hair thing. And it's like a Swiss Army knife, but in skincare form. So that would probably be my favorite. So, okay, going back to this and sort of other new stuff, that's not so new, right? So we were talking about clinical proof. This issue actually of the barrier, since we talked about it earlier, also got kind of sexy like a few years ago. And my mom actually started really cool clinical studies on it about 2015. So we've been looking very closely at the barrier. And one of the reasons why we use virgin coconut oil and monolaurin in so many of our products is precisely that. That, the fatty acids are native to skin. Monolaurin is found in breast milk. They're both so friendly to the barrier. They're really kind of crucial. And a wild thing that we started seeing in the pandemic, and we're still seeing now, we're seeing really infections in the skin. So if you have a pimple that you think is getting really out of hand, very big, it's turning into a boil, please don't wait. Have it seen by a dermatologist or at least a health practitioner or urgent care or emergency care, because we're seeing some really wild infections from germs that or microbes that we normally see only in the ICU, or that they normally play nicely, with our normal microbiome in the skin. But in part because of all the disinfection that happened over the pandemic, we have an imbalance that's happening here, or a lot more dandruff, which can actually just be an imbalance of that microbiome. So we've been sort of looking at that extensively. And a cute sort of aside, Kim Kardashian the other day, I don't know if you guys saw it, but she shared a tip that she'd gotten for layering, our word, no, not hers, to prevent a psoriasis flare, because she has psoriasis and she's talked about this, where she applied lotion and then she applied saran wrap before going to bed. And it's so cute because we use that tip A lot. And, my mom has used it for a lot of her patients. We talk about it a lot at VMV, all our live streams over the pandemic and in InSkin and all this. And what we normally say is when you see your flare is kind of starting, put like boo boo balm and then wrap it in cling wrap overnight. And then you wake and your skin is just calm and happy. If you're allergic to cling wrap, you can use a plain white, non stretchy cloth. Um, so there, I just thought that was a cute thing to share because it's sort of picking up, right? These really in the know stuff. Are we planning on bringing it back? Makeup? Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. We keep planning. Okay, so God's honest truth, folks. We got hammered in the pandemic, like really hammered, like gutted. And so we decided, whatever we can bring back, we're going to bring back. But we have to prioritize the really fundamental stuff. Like people can't brush their teeth without a toothpaste, right? Or um, Clark Wash or Super Wash, the antiperspirant, things like that. This was really our top priority. So this year was the hope that we might be able to bring back at least one or two more. We have mascara and we have Skin Tangible, but we're really hoping to bring back more makeup because we know how fundamental that is too, right? Sometimes our mood is really affected by that. So I can promise you, like it just keeps us up at night. Like we're so devoted and we're really, my wish, my hope manifesting to the universe is that we at least get some of the lipsticks back or multi-purpose makeup sticks back by the end of the year. So fingers crossed. But yes, it is very much not discontinued. Makeup is a priority for VMV. For many of our customers who cannot use any other cleanser, any other soap, anything else, usually they can't use any other foundation or lipstick or whatever. So it's not a froofy thing for us. It is a fundamental thing for us. And so we are committed. The other thing that I wanted to touch on briefly is, because we only have about 15 minutes left, this trend of tweens. Have you been seeing that? Tweens that are using like mega retinols and active ingredients, and they're like copying their mom's 10-step regimens and stuff. And it's so interesting because we at VMV, I think, have been so early to talk about combining different actives, using more products maybe in your regimen. But what I'm personally pretty proud of is that we've always done it with such a commitment to medically sound information and to safety. So for example, if we're going to talk about combining active ingredients, you want to use glycolic acid, you want to use mandelic acid, you want to use kojic acid. Anything that we put out there, even on our uber wordy packaging, is super clear. You have to start using the active ingredient slowly, which means not twice a day, every day, immediately. You have to start once a week. A week. You observe your skin. Then you increase to twice a week. Then 3 times a week. Only after you get to once or twice a day applications of one active should you even start the other active. And you start the other active at once a week. And you do this really, really slowly. And I think that this is something that has to be overemphasized as people get excited about the 10-step regimen, or their kids are doing it for fun or whatever, right? And the other thing we talk about is things like don't use stuff with fragrance or other allergens because these actives are irritating. Sometimes that's the reason why they're so effective, right? So imagine if your skin is already slightly irritated and you're trying to keep it controlled, and then you start using parabens and fragrance and dyes and all these other things that add to the risk of irritation. What happens? You get irritated, you have to start again from the beginning. Or maybe you made a new problem now that you didn't have before, which is more hyperpigmentation or acne or whatever. So I think it's new that people are jumping on this 15,000 step regimens, or that younger and younger kids are starting to play with actives. I think that's new. It's not new to us, but I think what's important is that we've been really quite obsessive about getting the information out there and being very clear about instructions and stuff. Oh, cute. Joe is asking, yes, I promise lipsticks. And she goes, the first VMV product was lipstick given to her by her husband, which I really love. Okay, so I promise. I don't need more motivation. I swear to God. We're really trying to bring it back. But I love that story. I think that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, what else? We have some questions that had come in. Um, okay, so I have Castle, sorry, who's asking, can we use Armada 70 even if we don't go to the beach? Absolutely. You can definitely use it every day. If you are more concerned about indoor lights, though, I would do Armada 45, maybe for when you're mostly indoors. The thing that's interesting too, no, is people forget that UVA comes in through windows. UVB doesn't, but UVA does. So if you're always like commuting or you're driving, that light, there's wonderful photos now. I'm actually really excited this is becoming more known, where you see someone who has always driven, let's say in a truck or in a car or whatever, and you really see the difference in the photo aging on this side of the face that's hit by the UVA through the glass. So if your chair at work is next to a window, this is something to look out for. And Armada Sport 70 can also help with that because it's anti-UVA very high as well. Okay. I know we had some other, I want to make sure I'm not missing questions. Oh, thank you. Okay, the VMV folks are helping me here. I'm 67 years old. What is good for my skin? Oh, gosh, I want to introduce you to my mother. She's great at this. But so I'm 52, and a lot of my regimen has actually changed because, especially as women, actually men also, we have hormones, right? And they change as we age. And so I need a lot more moisturization now than I did when I was younger. And so if before my problem was more acne and maybe I used toner more and that sort of thing, now I actually use more moisturizers and VCO, I never thought I would use oil on my face, but now I really need it. And when I travel, oh my gosh, I really, I put it in a little plastic bag because any oil will leak, right? So bottom line, as we age, what we all share, the barrier becomes just more damaged from exposure to stuff over time, maybe our health, maybe a drop in hormones, estrogen, that sort of thing. So definitely sensitivity can increase, dryness can increase. So you want to go even gentler. If you've never had a patch test, now is a good time. But so for example, maybe use more cream cleansers, like any of our super skin cream cleansers that are allergen free. The creamy rich, the moisture rich ones is really nice and yummy. I actually use the Red Better cleanser now more than I thought I would ever need to because of my flaking. I don't know what that is, but it's happened more. And then you can actually skip toner already and then go straight to, say, I've been using Red Better moisturizer, but I still love my Illuminance cream because I have melasma. My son gave me melasma when I was pregnant, so I don't like that. So I use that. And then I'll still do my Id Monolaurin gel because I actually think it helps with the plumpness of my skin. And then we have, in the clinic in Manila, if you're listening from the Philippines, we have a prescriptive that's sort of, a very secret thing, but it's nice. It's virgin coconut oil with retinoic acid. And they choose the dosage for you. And so I do that. And then I put Armada, and I actually end everything with virgin coconut oil just to kind of smooth things out. So I take care of my barrier. When I'm traveling, I will layer my lotion. So I'll do like creamy rich, intensive moisture milk, followed by virgin coconut oil. Because again, as we age, that's a concern. Toner sa blue bottle, meron na. It's Id toner, Id bump-free toner, and it's back. So if you don't see it, it might just be a stock issue. And again, I apologize. It's really, let me tell you, coming back from the pandemic has been a challenge. So it's here. It's just if we have some hiccups in supply, it could be us. It could be our poor supplier is running late. So instead of like 3 months for delivery of a packaging material or a raw material, it's now taking 6 to 9 months. It can be a lot of things. But yes, that's not discontinued. Tretinoin. How can I incorporate tretinoin into my regimen? You totally can. Slowly, right? What I said earlier about actives, this applies double, potentially triple to tretinoin because it can be quite strong. So once a week. observe and be religious about using your Armada indoors and out, whether or not you have applied the tretinoin on that day. Religious, because most active ingredients, and certainly tretinoin, will make you more photosensitive. So very slowly, carefully, and avoid, again, all allergens and stuff like that. Natural ingredient that's hypoallergenic, virgin coconut oil and monolaurin. Monolaurin is found in breast milk. It kind of doesn't get more natural than that. Like this is, you know, um, and this thing about natural, it's really interesting because if you think about it, I remember someone once said to me, "Oh my gosh, I really don't like this ingredient," and it was water. It was just hydrogen and oxygen. So what is natural? I mean, there's so many things in nature that are actually chemicals. Everything in nature has a chemical signature. Everything, right? The periodic table of elements. So if you're trying to look for something that is not harmful to animals, lots of stuff, including us. If you're looking for stuff that's more sustainable, lots of options as well. If you're looking for natural, I dig a little bit deep there and try to figure out what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for natural fragrance, that's rough. That's really rough. It's hard to find because even if you grew a rose naturally yourself, it's an allergen. Beeswax is an allergen. Propolis is related to beeswax, can be a fragrance also. So yeah, I wish I could help you more there. So yay, the toner's there. Okay. Recommended product with tretinoin. First things first, a big caveat. If we don't make the tretinoin product, I don't know what is in there. So we just want to make sure that there's no fragrance, preservatives, dyes, that sort of thing. Otherwise, personal faves here would be the moisture rich cleanser would, I think, work well with that. The red better cleanser might also work with that because it's an anti-inflammatory, right? So your active is inflaming healthily and your red better is bringing down the inflammation. And then I would definitely do Armada, probably 45 indoors and out. And then I would add the VCO on top of that to protect the barrier, again, help bring down that inflammation. That would be my recommendation. Okay, and then let me make sure I just get as many questions in as I can. Oh my gosh, we have 5 minutes. Okay. Wait. Help. Do we have VMV in Negros Oriental? We sell on vmvhypoallergenics.ph and it delivers all over the Philippines. We have wonderful franchisees that we work with who are constantly looking to open kiosks and boutiques all around the Philippines and in other countries as well. Facial scrub every day. Yes, you can use it every single day. With facial scrubs, the key thing is massage gently, like you love your skin, not like you're trying to, scrub your sins away. Don't go hard. Don't scrub for longer than just a few seconds at a time over any one spot because over scrubbing can hurt the barrier. You don't want to do that. But yes, can be used. Thank you. Happy anniversary. Yes, lipstick. Okay. What else am I think I've gotten most questions. Yes? I think so. I hope so. Okay. So VMV, what are we going to do? Are we going to now announce the winners? Do we already have winners? Oh, wait. Okay, so is it okay to apply cleanser to the pimples on my face? Folks, I've actually gotten some surprise irritations from people. Sorry, let me get this. Is Amazon an authorized seller of our products? Amazon is not. We are authorized sellers of VMV on Amazon. So if you see VMV being sold by some random person on Amazon, that's not us. We have a proper store on Amazon. I think on both Vendor and Seller Central. VMV is available legitimately on Amazon, but it's us. It's not through another seller. I hope that answered the question. VMV product for acne scars. Thank you for the 45th. So acne scars, that depends if it's textural, like pockmarks, deeper dents. Nothing topical can really help with that. But there's a wonderful machine called an Enerjet. That thing I think I mentioned earlier that uses air jet propulsion. So you have far less risk of hyperpigmentation and radiation from regular lasers. Excellent results for dented scars. Otherwise, id toner followed by like Illuminance cream and then Armada. Really, really nice on acne scars. Yay, I'm so Kendra, you're like making my day, my week, my month. Okay, so we can announce our winners. So happy. All right, so we expanded our winners. We were only going to do this on Facebook, but I guess, I don't know, we decided to go live on Instagram again. So we, on Instagram, we have Kendra, my favorite person today. Oh my gosh, you're the Derm PA. You were awesome. I know exactly who you are. We reposted something from you on Boo Boo Bomb. I'm not making that up, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, so yay, I'm so happy you won. And then our Kota He House. Am I murdering that? I'm so sorry. I think I murdered the name of your profile. But thank you. You're our two winners from Instagram. And from Facebook, we have Keisha, Gosom Aquino, and Joe Apostol. I feel like I know you. I feel like I might know both of you, but my brain is squishy. Cottage. Okay, sorry. So it wasn't me. It was our cottage house. So congratulations, folks. I'm so happy. Thank you for joining us. Kendra, I'm so happy. Yay, it's nice to meet you, sort of. Okay, so yes, thank you for joining us. Please let us know if you want more of these and any other topics you want us to cover. And in the meantime, especially, well, to our male allies out there, thank you for allying and showing up. Otherwise, to all the women out there of all shapes and sizes and colors and cultures and everything, happy, happy, happy Women's Month. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you. Mwah. I promise we're working hard to get the makeup back. I swear. Bye, everyone. Let me make sure I'm, oops. There, okay, and live.